Welcome everyone to Willis ISD's District Dynamic Show for April the 1st, 2015. I'm your host, Superintendent Tim Harkrider, so I hope you are enjoying your April Fool's Day. I'm not a big fan of this day, but I'm sure many of you are. Education is exciting. Great things are happening in Willis ISD. Our teachers are passionate and enthusiastic about educating our students, and they aspire our students to success each and every day. We've got several items I'd like to start off covering today from our March board meeting. One of those teachers provides the foundation for many students' future success. Her infectious smile lights up the faces of the eager preschoolers entrusted to her care. They willingly follow her every suggestion, encouragement, and direction with rapt attention as they move from one fun activity to the next, all designed to develop a lifelong love for learning. This energetic, dynamic teacher who believes in finding the best way to educate each individual child, Melody Sharpen of Parmley Elementary, was named Willis ISD's Most Valuable Player for March 2015. This incredible educator was described as a walking smile and embodies our district motto of one team, one purpose. If you visit our website, you can watch a video watching her inspire the young minds and hearts entrusted to her care. And Melody is a definition of what we want to see in our teachers, and she's a tremendous asset to Parmley and also to our school district, so we congratulate her. If you were at the board meeting, you would have seen there were several of her current students and I believe even former students that showed up to give her flowers. I think there were probably around 10 kids that were there, and it was just a neat deal. She thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was a nice evening. Our Board of Trustees were also treated that evening to an inspiring performance of "Oh Danny Boy" by the Brabham Women's Choir. Both middle school 7th and 8th grade treble choirs participated in UIL competition the next day. The girls represented themselves and their schools with poise and confidence and received a mixture of superior and excellent scores. These successes aren't measured on the STAR test, but have an immeasurable impact on the future success of our students. And Brabham, the middle school choirs at both campuses did an excellent job and made tremendous growth over last year, so we're very proud of them and their directors for all of their hard work and seeing some payoff from that hard work. We had 3 athletic teams were honored at the meeting that evening for their success in the classroom and on the field of play. The Willis High School Volleyball boasted the District 18-5A Offensive Player of the Year, 1 first-team All-District and 2 second-team All-District athletes, and 13 academic All-District honors. Willis High School Football featured the 18-5A Newcomer of the Year, 7 first-team, 5 second-team players, 20 academic All-District, 1 second-team All-Academic All-State, and 2 first-team academic All-State awards. Cross-country accolades included a state qualifier, 13 regional qualifiers, and 7 academic All-District honors. And that is a tremendous asset. You know, when I was coaching several years ago, and even when I was playing growing up, I always had the All-District honors, but have never had the academic honors at that particular time. So I was very happy to see the UIL make that shift, because we do have student athletes that participate, you know, whatever activity that is, but they are a student first, and to be able to show some awards and give some recognition to the work in the classroom, I think is extremely important and puts the emphasis where it needs to be. In the business portion of the meeting, trustees approved the 2015-16 academic year calendar. Important features of the calendar include the first day of school is August 24th, and the last day is June the 3rd. The holiday schedule is similar to past years with the exception of spring break, and we've moved it from the 3rd week in March from the 2nd week to the 3rd week in March. So next year that will be on March 14th through the 18th, and that was a lot of input that we received from our staff to make that move. So we were happy to make that move and kind of get that in line with kind of what the majority of our staff wanted to see. The first semester will end prior to the Christmas break, and our grading period will be 8 to 9 weeks long as opposed to 5 to 6 weeks, and that's a change that we're making as a district. We used to go on roughly a 6-week grading cycle. This next year we're going to switch to a 9-week grading cycle. That gives our teachers and kids a little bit more time in between. So instead of having 6 report cards, we will only have 4. It kind of makes the year go a little bit longer, and not to have our staff and kids seem to be running back and forth, and the next thing you know, you get another grading cycle and another. So I've worked in a district before that had a 9-week cycle. Staff really liked it. Kids enjoyed it. So that is a switch we'll be making next year. If you're interested in looking at the other dates on our calendar, it's posted on our websites. For the big holidays, we do have a week off for Thanksgiving and 2 weeks for Christmas. So that's always something the folks are interested in seeing. As we administratively plan for next year, and we have been probably since December. I know that sounds crazy, but there's a lot of stuff that goes into prepping for the following school year, and by the time we get school going, from administrative side of things, we start thinking about next year. But we also wanted to have a review of our current school hours. Decisions on what time school should start and how to accommodate everyone's needs are never easy, nor are they taken lightly. We understand the difficulties of parents who juggle work schedules with school schedules, athletics, extracurricular activities, and more. We also realize that the challenges that we face transporting all children in Willis ISD and running separate routes for elementary and secondary students are confusing. Many have completed a survey we created to gather input on proposed change for next year. The survey is available on our website until noon Thursday, April the 2nd. No decision will be made until all the data has been reviewed, and we will communicate that decision as soon as possible through our website, social media, and our phone call-out system. And I will also let you know that the results of this survey will be shared with our staff and our community. I think it's very important when we look for feedback and want feedback. As you read some of the comments, from time you would see something along the lines of, well, I hope y'all look at the comments, and that's why we send it out. We definitely want to look at it and then see what folks have to say. We will share the results. I think it's important as a district to be very transparent, so we will show out how many votes we received, how many yeses, how many nos. I think it's very important as you gather information that you let the public know what those results are, and then we will make a decision that we feel like is best for our school district. It's hard to believe we're talking about next year. We still have so much of this year left. And as this time of the year we work toward every day as our testing season. We have all said along that test scores will never define us as a school district, but our teachers and students have worked extremely hard to meet the state-mandated accountability standards, and we hope they shine like stars. We know they are. This is a time that I think a lot of folks in public education and around, and parents and other superintendents and administrators and teachers, we don't like the testing, the accountability piece. We know there has to be accountability, but the amount of tests that our kids have to go through is extremely frustrating as you're trying to guide and lead a district, and you're held to certain standards. But there's a lot of legislation down in Austin right now that could tweak some of that, and I think it's important for us to be accountable for our kids and their learning, but I think we can find a better way to do this. So I'm hoping after this legislative session some of these demands are lessened a little bit. The bottom line is we provide an excellent education for our kids, and one test is not going to measure a job that a student's done nor a job that a teacher has done for a 9-week period for one test that they take in March or April. Each of our educators and their students celebrate many small victories in their classrooms every single day. A lot of these will not appear on the test, and they won't make the 24-hour news cycle, but they definitely make a difference in our students' lives. And we also appreciate the support we receive from our parents and communities, for it takes all of us together to ensure student success. And we think we've got a great product here at Willis ISD, and we appreciate your support. And that'll wrap up our first segment, and we'll be right back after a short break.
Hi, this is Erica Tullis, Executive Director of the Breast Cancer Charities of America. The Breast Cancer Charities of America is a national nonprofit organization with our headquarters in The Woodlands, Texas. We focus on non-invasive breast cancer research and helping the true patient that is going through breast cancer. Through our Help Now Fund, we help women pay the rent and utilities while going through their breast cancer treatment. It's unlike any other program that truly is out there. We are here to help the woman. Our phone number is 936-231-8460. For more information or to get involved or to even make a donation, please visit our website, www.igopink.org.
Hi folks, it's your old buddy Luke Clayton, and I want to invite you to join me every Saturday morning right here on Lone Star Internet Radio from 8 to 9 for Outdoors with Luke Clayton and Friends. Bill Dance is a frequent guest. Larry Weisser, Mr. Whitetail, is on the show every week. We talk a lot of hunting and fishing and generally have a good time. So remember, every Saturday morning, 8 to 9, right here on Lone Star Internet Radio.
Did you know there really was a place in Conroe where peer pressure doesn't exist and freedom takes on a whole new meaning? Bridgewood Farms is such a place. Here they offer their clients day services, vocational training, health and wellness programs, and social interaction activities for teens and adults with intellectual and developmental challenges. To help grow our programs, the community is being invited to come participate in the 7th annual wine tasting event called Around the World in 180 Minutes on April 11th at Main Street America on I-45 in Spring. Enjoy a short travel through 18 regions of the world sampling fine wine. Sounds like fun, doesn't it? Sponsorships are still available for as low as $350. Event passports sell fast. Don't miss the event that everyone is talking about. Get your passports for entry online today at bridgewoodfarms.org for just $75. With your help, we can be successful and continue to provide the best services for our special people.
Welcome back to our second segment of Willis ISD's District's Dynamic Show for April 1st, 2015. I'm your host, Superintendent Tim Harkrider, and our first guest this morning is Willis High School Director of Sweethearts, Miss Cade. Cade, how are you?
Fine, thanks, Mr. Harkrider.
Good.
How are you?
Thank you. Doing great. Thank you for joining us today. If you could just start out, and this is the fun time I like about our guests. I get to learn some background information about folks that I've never heard before. So if you could start off and give us a little background on yourself and what you teach at the high school.
Sure. I teach dance and direct the drill team at the high school, and I've been at the high school for going on 13 years now, so 12 years. Next year will be 13. I love teaching in Willis ISD. I love teaching dance and being the director of the Sweethearts and getting to work with these amazing students and amazing girls. I went to Texas Tech University and graduated with my degree in dance, my Bachelor of Arts. And since then, I've just been doing what I love, teaching.
Awesome. Very good. Well, I know when I took over at the high school as principal 3 years ago, I was walking through the facilities and went through the dance gym, and of all the banners, I knew obviously we had a big-time dance program, so that was something that stood out. Can you give us a little history and a little background on the Sweethearts program?
We've traced it back as far as we can to 1979, so we believe that the first dance team at the high school was in 1979. And there's been 5 directors since that time. You can see pictures dating back from the early 80s and the 90s, and you can see how the team has evolved to grow, not only with more girls, but the styles of the uniform have changed, hairstyles, of course, so it's kind of neat to go back and look at those and see how the team has changed over the years. So now we currently have close to 40 girls, and the size fluctuates depending on the year, but I think the first team had about 10 girls.
Okay. Wow. It is neat to look at the old pictures, especially on uniforms. My wife was cleaning out, or we just recently moved and was going through some old pictures, and one of them was when I played basketball. My kids got a kick out of how short the shorts were, and I think at that time I thought they were kind of long. So, yeah, definitely needed to get rid of that. Now, y'all have several different performances and some things kind of go through. I know you have a football season, you have a contest season. Explain to everyone how that kind of works.
Most people don't realize that the girls are active all year long. They really don't have an off season. They go from over the summer practicing, we go to camp, straight into football season. We love supporting our football team and our athletic programs. Right after football season is over, they start getting ready immediately for our contest season, which typically starts in February. Sometimes if we're really early, they could go to contest in January, but usually they're competing in February and March. We usually finish contest season by going to a nationals competition, and they wrap up the year with our big district spring show in April.
All right, and you guys ladies just recently came back from California.
So
yes,
how
was that trip?
Oh, the girls had a blast. We went to Los Angeles. The girls got to fly. A lot of them have never flown on a plane before. So flying to Los Angeles was neat. We did lots of different activities, from going to the Grove and the Farmers Market, going to the Santa Monica Pier. They got to go to Disneyland, which they, of course, loved. Right. And then we competed at a national competition with teams from across the country, from Utah. There were some California teams, some teams from Texas, I think a team from Idaho. So it was neat to see teams from across the country and their style of dance.
What a lifetime memory right there.
Yes.
That's awesome. Very good. Now, when y'all compete, and most of our classifications is based on the size of the school, but when y'all compete, it's a little bit different.
Correct. They're looking specifically at the number of girls on your team, and typically if you're from a bigger school, a big 5A school or a 6A school, that you're going to have a larger dance team, but they don't look at the size of your school. They look at if you have between 25 to 35 girls on the team, you're a large team. Or if you have, 60 plus, you might be a super size team. So they specifically look at your team size.
Okay, all righty. And talk a little bit about a list of awards that our Sweethearts have received over the years and some awards from this year.
Okay. They've won nationals 6 different times, so we like to brag and say that they are 6-time national champions. Nationals is a little different in that it is an elite competition that teams can come from all across the country, but it's not a mandatory. It's not like a sporting event where you're going through like a, competing and deleting people. But it's still to win. Can't think of many other teams that have won nationals as many times as they have. So that's something we like to brag about and that they've worked really hard for.
Yeah.
This past year, they actually went to 2 national competitions, and in LA, in their division, they won nationals. The officers were reserve national champions, so they were first runner-up national champions, but the team won. We recently, or after that, we competed in Fort Worth this past 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago at a national competition, and the team won first place in some of the categories. They didn't win overall, which of course we were disappointed about, but they were national champions in Palm, beating out many teams that did a Palm routine. So they had a really good season. Very proud of them. They worked super hard. So
that's awesome. Well, I know they worked super hard because the year that I started in the summer as high school principal, I don't think there was many days I went up to the gym that y'all were not up there at some point in time during the day. And you're exactly right. Most people have no idea that that's even taking place. Well, anytime you can put national championship in front of your name, you cannot get too many of them, and when you have more than one, that is a tremendous honor.
Thank you.
Now I know you've got a spring show that's coming up. Can you give us some details about that?
April 25th, our spring show will start at 5:30. It's a Saturday. Our spring show incorporates the drill team, of course, the Sweethearts, but we also incorporate our middle school programs. They come in and perform their routines, and I also have my dance classes dance. So it's an all-around district dance spring show that the community can come to, friends and family. It supports our scholarship program for our seniors. Our scholarship is the Alicia Williams Memorial Sweetheart Dance Scholarship for a former Sweetheart captain that passed away, and the scholarship is in her honor. So the show benefits our seniors, and it's a big deal for people to come watch.
When you get to showcase everything that you dance from middle school all the way up. Well, very good. Well, how does if a young woman wanted to become a Sweetheart, what kind of skills does she need to possess?
Really, just a positive attitude, ready to work hard, good work ethic. Of course, you need to have some natural dance ability, but we learn a lot just in basic training, so you don't necessarily need to have a background in dance, but just the ability to work as a team, to be positive, to do good in school, to have a positive relationship with your teammates and your teachers. We work a lot on flexibility, of course, and necessary skills as a dancer, but just coming in, with an open mind, ready to work hard, and you should do great.
Well, great. As we kind of wrap up, tell us briefly, I know at the high school level we have the Sweethearts, but you have the luxury of having 2 dance teams at both of our middle schools. Tell us a little bit about those programs.
We have the Brabham Aristocats and the Lynn Lucas, Brabham Sophisticats and the Lynn Lucas Aristocats.
Yeah, those names wear me out.
Yes, I know. It's kind of a tongue twister saying them both together. But we're very proud of both of our middle school programs, and you can be a 7th or 8th grader on either of those teams and then come up to the high school as a Sweetheart. Both of those teams work really hard as well. They not only have football season, but they go to competition and compete and win many awards, and then, of course, at the end of the year come and perform in our spring show. So we're very proud of our middle school programs.
Well, that's a great luxury to have. And as we talk about programs and we talk about what it takes to be a Sweetheart, we just so happen to have a senior captain, Brittany Vargo, with us. How are you, Brittany?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Doing great. Thank you for joining us. And I told Brittany when she came in today that I believe she was the 4th student that we'd have. So we're very excited. I know sometimes our audience gets tired of listening to me or other adults, so we like to sprinkle in some students from time to time. Tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been in dance and how long you've been a Sweetheart.
I have been a Sweetheart for all 4 years. I'm a senior now, so all my high school I've been in Sweethearts. I started dance when I was in 8th grade on the Brabham Sophisticats, and I just fell in love with it, so I stuck with it.
Awesome. Well, that's great. What's your favorite part about being a member of the team?
Definitely the sisterhood. For example, if you walk into somewhere, you have immediate friends everywhere. So whenever we walk into the cafeteria and you're like, oh my gosh, does anybody have this lunch? And you see Sweethearts and you're like, I got this. So you just go up to them and they're immediately like joining you in.
Yeah, that's awesome. That was always the overwhelming part of when I went and played, or I played a lot of baseball, and you go to college and, you always knew no matter where you went, within a day or two, you would bond with, in particular, 2 or 3 guys, and you always kind of stuck together. So it's nice to have that relationship with those that you can trust. What is your most memorable experience from this year so far?
Definitely the LA.
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I think it'd be kind of hard to top that.
Yeah.
Definitely hard to top that. What is your role as a captain?
My role as captain is being Miss Cade's biggest supporter and the helper, the main officer. During practice, there are times where I'll lead it, and I'll teach the girls how to do the stance and clean it, so then it's ready for whenever we perform it.
Okay. Very good. Now, we talked a little bit about you going to college. Would you let everybody know what are your plans after graduation?
Yes, I'm going to go to Lone Star and SAM. SAM for the dance degree, and afterwards I'm going to be a drill team director.
Awesome. Well, look in there. I guess you got a little mini-me in the making. Well,
That's
good.
right.
My
Very
next
proud of her.
question was, are you going to continue dance? And obviously the answer is yes. Last question as we wrap up, how has being a sweetheart, especially a captain, impacted your life?
It has definitely made me mature. I've grown up a lot more than I guess high school students would be. I have 39 girls depending on me to know what to do, so I have to be their leader and help them, what to do next and all that kind of stuff. So it's made me a better person.
That's awesome. That is great. Well, Brittany, Katie, thank y'all very much for joining us. Y'all are a part of a first-class program that makes Willis ISD very proud.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Harkrider.
Thank y'all. We'll be right back. Thank you.
The largest flying museum in the world is the Commemorative Air Force, a national organization whose mission is to acquire, restore, fly, and educate the public about U.S. military aircraft and their role in U.S. history. Right here in Spring, Texas, the CAF owns an exceptional World War II warbird, the Flying Fortress Texas Raiders. Residing at David Wayne Hooks Airport and maintained by the Gulf Coast wing of the CAF, the Big Bomber is regularly opened to the public for tours and flights. The Gulf Coast Wing is a non-profit organization made up of volunteers who maintain, fly, and travel with Texas Raiders to promote the mission of the CAF. The Big Bomber has traveled all over the United States, reuniting veterans and the public with the historic World War II aircraft. Would you like to know more about taking a walk-through tour or a ride in the iconic Flying Fortress? Perhaps you'd like to learn about volunteering to actually work with the crew on the aircraft. Go to www.b17texasraiders.org or join us on Facebook at facebook.com B17TexasRaiders. Or to speak to us, call 1-855-FLY-A-B17.
Put a smile on your face, a warm feeling in your heart, and tune in to the listener-friendly Mark and Cindy Show every weekday morning from 10 to 11 here on irlonestar.com. Do you have anything to add to that, Mark?
Yeah, scratch the listener-friendly part. Goes without saying. We're not going to be unfriendly with listeners because they'll quit listening and we'll be back to emceeing watermelon-tossing galas. I'm not doing that again, Cindy.
Look, when somebody yells duck, you don't look over to see what's coming your way. You duck.
Hey, it's a reflex from martial arts training. Anyway, I'm not doing any more watermelon galas.
Okay, catch us on our archives, YouTube, SoundCloud, and HBO.
Right, HBO. We're on right after the Game of Thrones. Cindy, you are such a storyteller. I'd like to apologize for Cindy. She makes up stuff.
I'm not. Human Body Odor, HBO. It's an experimental new community channel.
The Mark and Cindy Show every weekday at 10 o'clock. Join us here on irlonestar.com. Please.
At Jazzy Junk, volunteers reclaim, restore, and recycle. Jazzy Junk is a non-profit resale storefront where you will discover wonderful, unique finds at very affordable prices on furniture, antiques, books, art, home decor, and more. When you shop Jazzy Junk, you support New Danville, a community for adults with developmental disabilities. We receive new donations daily, so plan a visit to Jazzy Junk today to find that perfect item or gift. Our motto is here today, gone today, so remember to hurry in and shop often for the best selection. Jazzy Junk is located in the outlets at Conroe on League Line Road and I-45 North. Call 936-441-4500 or visit our website, jazzyjunk.org, that's Junque, for more information and store hours.
Welcome back, and we are privileged to have with us Willis High School's Ag Mechanics teacher, Mr. Dane Castleshouldt. Dane, how are you doing?
Great. Glad to be here, Mr.
Well,
Harkrider.
you are a fan favorite among our student body, so we are glad you're joining us today. And give us a little bit of background about yourself, Dane, and what classes that you teach.
Well, I went to Willis High School, graduated in 1981, took a few years off, went back to Sam Houston State, graduated in 98. After I graduated from Sam Houston, got a job at Magnolia, teaching industrial education there. I think I moved to Willis in 2001, so I've been in Willis for 14 years.
Been with us since then. Well, you're a big asset to our program. And can you give us a little background information on our Ag Mechanics program? What do our students learn? Some goals of the program?
Well, our Ag Mech program has grown in leaps and bounds since 2006. When I came to Willis, there was not a welding program here. Started off with a grant from Willis Economic Development Group. They gave us $10,000, 2 consecutive years. We bought a bunch of equipment. Started off with approximately 30 students. Now we're up to like 180 students.
Wow.
2 teachers, Tony Evans and I. Tony teaches the first-year kids. Those kids can begin our classes as a freshman and go all 4 years. As a freshman, they can earn it's called a National Center for Construction and Research certification.
Okay.
That first year, the certification is basic safety, tool identification, and basic welding. And upon receiving that certification, the second year, those kids come to me. They can start off with level 1 and then level 2 welding before they graduate.
Okay, so there is a progression of skills
Yes,
that the
there
kids
is.
go through.
Yes.
Very good. How many kids have went through? We had talked a little bit last year in the first few years about the kids going through the program and graduating and having certifications and be able to immediately go out and get a job that's going to pay them a nice salary.
All of the students who receive a certification up to level 2, which they will get from me before they graduate, are able to get a job immediately after high school graduation. And I guess, what kind of touches my heart with that is I've had students who parents actually making more than their parents ever made in their life.
Golly.
A kid graduated last year who happens to live beside me. I actually gave him lunch money for 4 years. He's making like $22 an hour now.
Wow.
1 year out of high school.
That's awesome.
Yes.
That's great. And, I think something as we work with our kids and we get them coming into high school and we talk to them in middle school about what they want to be when they grow up, it is a important decision, obviously, to have all 4 years that as a 14 and 15-year-old, if this is a program that appeals to them, we need to get them in early and get them on the right track.
Exactly. Not all students are going to go to a 4-year college.
Right.
And most of the kids that I have in my classes need some classes like that we offer at high school as far as welding and building trades and some of the other career and technology classes, because they're going to move right into the workforce when they graduate from high school.
And that kind of revolves around our focus of our kids being career ready. And, and we want them to go to college if that's what they want to do. And if that's not what they want to do, then we want to be able to bring programs to them so they're career ready, graduate from high school. And a lot of times these are the type of courses that keep these kids in high school. They're not knocking down the doors to get up to go to Algebra 1 or Algebra 2. They're wanting to come see you. They're wanting to do something that they love. They just need to have that high school diploma along with that certification.
Yes, sir. You're exactly right. I have those students that, if they could get out of all of their other classes, would be in my class all day long.
Yep. Yeah, but that's awesome, especially when you get to a point, and my parents have always told me you want to be in a position where you can do something as a career that you enjoy doing, and you don't mind getting up every day and going to work. And I can promise you, I don't mind every day getting up and get a little bored sometimes on the weekend. I enjoy what I do, and that's definitely a blessing. Competitions come up. You guys work all year long on your competitions. Houston Livestock Show, you go up to Fort Worth, you go down to San Antonio. Give us some updates about how long we've been competing and what all goes into your competitions.
Well, as far as ag mechanics, we've been competing for 3 years now.
Okay.
3 years at Montgomery County Fair, 2 years at Houston, and 2 years at San Antonio. And in those 3 years, our kids from Willis have won the overall chapter award at Montgomery County Fair all 3 years that they've offered it there. We've had the grand champion twice, reserve champion all 3 years. So it's been exceptional.
So it's pretty good success there for a 3-year run.
Right.
Get started and get good quick.
Well, and too, at Houston and those major shows is very, very competitive.
Right.
Houston, I think, had a little over 500 entries.
Wow.
San Antonio, a little over 600. And, for one of our kids, Kyle Carmack took a 24-foot aluminum trailer, which was awesome. If you guys have a chance, come to Montgomery County Fair and look at it. It's almost unbelievable. Most of the people at Houston and San Antonio thought we built it from a kit, but it wasn't from a kit. It was actually built from the ground up.
Right.
So, for a kid from Willis to be able to go to Houston and compete at that level was really awesome.
Oh, that is great. And he had a very good year for you last year as well.
Yes,
I remember seeing what he had built out at the fair last year, was able to go out, and you guys racked up a ton of awards last year at the fair, so we're hoping to do the same thing again this year. Now, when you go in and these guys are building these projects, talk a little bit about the amount of shop hours they're in, the supplies. How does this process come together?
Well, at the beginning of the year, first thing that we do is a 6-week safety, go through all the safety and have a test. They have to pass the test before we can go in the shop. And once we get into the shop, we start the projects. Sometimes I already have projects ready for them. Like most of the barbecue pits, I have a lot of that stuff donated.
Right.
And then, they have to buy some of the materials, either that or I have someone sponsor it. Kyle started on his project, and Carson Dyer, who competed really well at Houston, around November.
Okay.
I think Kyle had a little over $7,000 in his project. Carson had about $1,600, with Carson having approximately 150 shop hours. And I think Kyle had like 400, a little over 400 shop hours.
Wow. So you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, these things do not happen by themselves. And what Dane had said about using a kit, the part of their competition is, these kids are building it themselves. They're not using kits or anything like this. They design it and build it. And sometimes, and I can promise you, when you look at it, you're like, there's just no way. But I guess sometimes it gets a little frustrating when, the integrity's questioned on where this came from, and the amount of time that you guys put in. You take that a little bit personally, I'm sure.
Yes, I do. I had a guy at the Houston Stock Show this year said, "Man, that looks like it was made from a kit." And I had to be standing fairly close and pretty rapidly. I said, "No, sir. I watched this kid, fabricate this whole trailer."
Right.
Kind of got him set pretty straight.
Well, that's good, and sometimes maybe they could have had a kit and it still wouldn't have looked as good as that one.
Exactly
So,
right.
So we've got the fair. Do you have some dates for us for the fair?
Yeah, County Fair starts on April the 9th. The AgMech show will be on that Saturday, which is the 11th. It starts around 9 o'clock.
Right. And that is a long day of judging. I was able to go out late that afternoon last year and see all the projects and see the great crowd from our Willis folks out there supporting our kids. And we've got a program that we're extremely proud of. We appreciate your leadership in that program. And you've got anything else to add as we kind of wrap things up of things to be excited about?
Well, I'm always excited about Willis. I went to school at Willis. I'm a Wildcat through and through. So anytime anybody's successful from Willis, whether it be athletics, AgMech, I'm really, really proud of those kids.
Well, that's a good deal. Well, we think we've got a lot of great things to showcase here, and we know we got a community that supports our kids, and there's nothing better than that. So, Dane, I appreciate you coming out and helping us today.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
have
sir.
a good one. We'll be right back.
Hello, Montgomery County. I'm Rachel Baldwin with Special Olympics Texas, Area 6. Are you a fan of courage? Are you a fan of determination? Are you a fan of acceptance, grace, and skill? Then you're already a fan of Special Olympics. Make it official. Volunteer, coach, and/or compete and be a fan of dignity and acceptance. The dedication of our Special Olympics Texas volunteers provides mainstreaming experiences for athletes with intellectual disabilities. You will touch the heart of another person, and it will move you in a meaningful way that lifts the spirit. Please visit the Heart of East Texas Area 6 webpage at www.sotx.org. Also, like us on Facebook to be a fan and be part of Special Olympics Texas.
I'm Andrea Kolsky.
And I'm Heather Hall.
You may have heard of Justice Being Blind.
But what about being blonde?
In our show, Justice is Blonde, we talk about what's going on in Montgomery County at the courthouse behind the scenes.
Hey, Andrea, don't forget about Harris County, too.
And honestly, Heather, nationwide, we cover it all.
Airing every Friday at 11 a.m., you can send in your burning questions to our email, justicesblonde.lonestar@gmail.com.
Or they can look us up on Facebook at Justice is Blonde.
Or they could even call in to the station at 936-647-3776. Although we are discussing the law, we're trying to keep it fun, and we have some awesome guests.
So tune in Friday for some legal fun, laughter, and an hour with the Blantourage.
I'm Lieutenant Bob Berry with the Conroe Police Department, reminding you that drinking and driving do not mix. Drinking and driving causes an alcohol-related fatality every hour in the United States. Stay sober and stay alive.
Welcome back for our final segment. We'll get things started here with our athletic update. Our Lady Cats fell in soccer playoffs 5-0 to Pflugerville Connolly, but they had an excellent job of making the playoffs the last 5 years in a row. Pflugerville, I believe, had lost one game going into this match, and they were a very stout team. Girls played hard, but came up a little bit short, but they've had a very successful season, and 5 years in a row in the playoffs is something to be very proud of. Congratulations go out to our Lady Lynx track team. Girls competed in the district meet last night and took third overall. 7th grade results were Miss Nephew at first place 100-meter hurdles, as well as first place in 800-meter relay as our team. A huge congratulations to the Brabham girl track athletes also for their incredible performance at the district track meet. Star performer was Savannah Gonzalez, first place in triple jump and the long jump. And our 7th grade Brabham boys traveled to Porter for the same meet. Star performer was Malik Johnson, first place triple jump, first place 200-meter dash, and Edgar Alvarado, first place in the shot put. Willis Lady Cats varsity softball team is off to a great start. They had 12 strikeouts from Casey Dixon and 11-1 win over Livingston to move to 5-0 in district. They've been out on a great year. I'm looking forward to get out here in the near future and watching them play. They are off to a very hot start in district and playing well. Our varsity baseball team won over Brian Rudder 1-0 to move to 3-1 in district play. They also lost a tough one Friday night, 3-2 in extra innings to Livingston, so they fell to 3-2 in district so far, but they're still in great shot and playing very well in district ball. And then our Wildcats had a great showing at the JV Wildcat Tennis Classic. Leading the way in girls A singles was Tina winning, and Maria Navarro finishing second. Also winning the A mixed doubles was Jessie Vickery and Marissa Rodriguez, with Justin Strover and Anna Tate finishing second. Kristen Smith won the girls B singles, and Gabe Zapata finished second in boys B singles. In girls A doubles, Juliana Almos and Sarah Childress finished third, while Casey Smith and Katie Strother placed second in the girls B doubles. Rounding out the awards was Paris Driscoll, and Made Romero won the consolation of girls B doubles. Skylar Thames qualified to compete in the girls' state powerlifting meet by winning first place at the Region 4 Division I Powerlifting Championships in the 148-pound weight class. Skylar competed against the top 10 girls in her weight class from a region that spans all the way from Willis to Galveston and as far east. as the Louisiana Border. She finished in the top 20 in state in her division. And then here recently, this last weekend, John Lewis, who was a senior sprinter for us, went down to Austin to compete in the prestigious Texas Relay in Austin. And this is kind of a meet. You've got high school athletes with college athletes, and this is kind of the prep for the state championship. And I think a lot of your top performers go down to kind of get the bugs out of the jittery bugs out of the way before the state championship meet. And John ran a 10.39 in the Division II, 5, and 6A level, which is the fastest time in the state of Texas this year on any classification. So we're hoping to see a repeat of that performance here in about a month in Austin. Looking forward to seeing John and the rest of our track stars compete. We also have some items that were released out in the Willis ISD briefs. Willis ISD Ag students achieved success at the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo recently. Casey Coy was third in her heifer class, Callie Coy third in her market swine class, and she made the sale. And then Wrangler Luke was fourth in his heifer class. Metter Elementary teacher Kristen Hamil made learning about plant parts and their functions exciting by building a giant flower in her classroom that the kids really enjoyed. And then our Turner fourth graders practiced their writing skills for the STAR test as they prepared essays describing their American heroes for the contest sponsored by the Lake Conroe Area Republican Women. All of our elementary campuses participated in this process, and the top entries will be honored at a special luncheon. It's a very neat event last year for our kids. And the Lake Conroe Area Republican Women is a tremendous group, does a lot to support our kids, and we appreciate their help. And then Brabham and Lucas Middle School students got ready to participate in the UIL speaking and writing competition on Thursday, March the 26th. My son also had an opportunity to participate. Very good evening. Results included Jorge Zamarja from Brabham placing third in 8th grade impromptu speaking, and 5th and 6th place finish in 7th grade impromptu speaking for Melissa Navarro Brabham and Will Nye of Lynn Lucas. Students are under the guidance of Tamara Lumpkin and Susan Burge. Both of those ladies do an excellent job with their kids. And as we get things going, this Friday, April 3rd, is a student holiday and staff holiday for Good Friday. So we hope everyone enjoys the Easter weekend. Wednesday, April 15th will be our regular monthly Board of Trustees meetings at 6 o'clock at the Cargill Education Support Center. Friday, April 10th marks the end of our 5th grading period for the year, meaning we have one grading period left. I say it, I think every time we do this show, I think this may be the fastest year that I remember in some time. And our UL competition seasons are in full swing for athletics, fine arts, and everything in between. The spring is definitely a busy time for us, but we've got a lot of great things taking place in Willis ISD. We appreciate you joining us for all great news and upcoming events. Please check out our district and campus websites. You can also download our free mobile app, and I'll be honest with you, that is probably the best way that I keep up with all the happenings in our district is I review that app. It's a very simple process to keep up with our campuses and what all we have going, and so I would encourage you, if you do not have that, that is the easiest way to find out what's going on in Willis ISD. And we strive to create partnerships with our parents and community to make educating exciting, and we thank you for being a part of this radio show, and we will see you soon.